everybody, and welcome back to Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. I am your host, Wizzy Puff, and with me is my co-host, Ross Pitt.
Greetings.
Is that how you say hello?
Yes, that's always how I say hello to mere mortals like yourself.
It's quite formal. I thought we were a bit closer than that.
Of course we're close. But, Wizzy, I have boundaries.
Ooh.
And currently, you're stepping over them, Wizzy.
I'm sorry, I'll get my feet back.
Back
Stepping noises,
off,
stepping noises, stepping
Wizzy.
noises. Oh no.
Farther, please.
What are you doing with that weapon? Huh?
Just clipping my nails. Well, that was a fun little opening.
So, are you really an alien?
Me? No.
Oh,
Me.
okay.
An alien. Me. An alien, no.
Then tell me, how was your week?
My week was fine. Yeah, I went back to my home planet. Good stuff, good stuff.
Oh, you mean Earth, because you were taking a trip out of Earth, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Earth. That's the one.
Yeah, good old home. Earth.
Yeah.
Guys, I got a bad feeling about Ross.
Good stuff, good stuff. So, anyways, other than that, week's been fine. I watched X-Men 97. I binged all of it today.
Ooh. Was it as good as you remember?
Well, I never actually saw the original. Well, I saw a few episodes of the original. But I watched the new season that came out. I guess it's just a new series in general. And it's really good.
Wait a minute. Is this X-Men from 1997?
Yeah.
And there's a new season?
Yeah. It essentially had a whole bunch of plot lines that never got continued.
Oh, I think I actually did hear something about this.
Yeah. It's the original show, from what I've seen of it. It's fine. It's good. I'm sure some people remember it being on par with, like, Batman the Animated Series. But personally, my X-Men show is X-Men Evolution.
That one's a good one.
I never really got into the 90s X-Men show. But X-Men 97, oh, it's so good. This is the year for superhero animated shows.
Yes!
This, Invincible, I'm sure My Adventures with Superman Season 2 is going to be great.
I'm gonna give what is probably a hot take. I think superhero animated shows have just gotten better over time. Like, don't get me wrong, Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, those shows were good. But there's just something about the newer shows that makes me feel like they're more real, I guess.
I don't think that's a hot take. But I think they've gotten more consistently good.
Yeah.
Like, I think as good as, like, Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, and even X-Men, from what I hear. Those were all great, but they were fairly sparse, you know? Or they were all we got.
And then we got Teen Titans after that.
Yeah, Teen Titans was pretty great. But in recent years, there have been a lot more animated superhero shows. And all of them have been bangers, pretty much. I can't think of one that isn't a banger, frankly. Well, except for, like, Bat Wheels. Whatever the fuck that was.
Sounds like a mix of Hot Wheels and Batman.
I think it was.
Oh, no.
Oh, well. That show added Cassandra Cain, so that was fun.
Yo.
Probably. She's the best Batgirl.
She really is. Well, except for my favorite Batgirl, Batty, I think that was the name of the bat from the one fanfic.
Not a girl, but
yeah, I didn't
go off
think
a
it was
man.
a girl, but I need to make a joke about that. You know what's another good fanfic based off of superheroes?
Well, we haven't talked about a single fanfic based off of superheroes, but no, I don't.
Well, it's called The Last Daughter of Croupton by Fan of Most Everything. That's another.
Oh shit.
That's another author that we've done before.
Okay, so legit, I didn't realize it was based off of Superman.
Really?
At least at first, I misread the title when I sent you the link.
You thought it said Crouton.
No, I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't Croupton. I know that. I might have misread it as like corruption or something.
Oh, that sounds cool, actually.
Which would also be a fucking awesome title.
The Last Daughter
Someone
of
make
Corruption.
that, please. Thank you. Oh, who would star in that? You know what? That's for another podcast, I suppose. Wizzy, let's make another podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Called Let's Make a Fanfiction.
We just make a fan fiction on the spot within like an hour.
Yes.
That sounds like that could be fun.
Let's make our first one, The Last Daughter of Corruption.
Yeah. It's always like we have frickin' ChatGPT writing it for us.
Yeah. Of course, if I saw this, going back to the topic, if I did see this chapter title, I would have known.
I don't know why. Doesn't really ring a bell to me.
Well, I guess we'll have to figure out why this might ring a bell.
All right, let's start. The Mayor of Tomorrow. The Chamber of Wisdom evoked Croupton's constant aspirations towards further greatness. It stood atop the tallest tower of the planetary science complex. Every part of it tall and thin, stretching ever higher towards the stars. Within, a single blue-coated unicorn stood before Crouptonian Council of Research, gazing up at the planet's 9 greatest minds. The chief researcher, his beard draping down past his barrel, sat at the center of the ark and looked down upon him.
Do you know why you are here today, Dr. Reith?
I believe so, Chief Researcher Brainiac.
Ah, that's who.
Do we know these people?
I know Brainiac.
Oh, okay.
You know, Superman's, like, second most popular villain.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of that guy.
Smartest being in the universe. Wait a minute, I know I've talked about Brainiac to you. Sorry, let's just continue.
I'm sure I've heard of him before, but I've not seen anything with him.
Have you seen the Justice League animated series?
No, I haven't seen that or the Batman animated series. I've seen a lot of clips from the Batman animated series, though. Said Laurel Wreath. I take it this is about the paper I submitted? Brainiac nodded.
Indeed it is. Would you please summarize it for those members of the council who have not yet had the chance to read it?
It details the long-term environmental effects of direct meta-taps. The rest of the council went into an uproar, drowning out Laurel.
Preposterous!
Ludicrous!
Silence!
Brainiac rapped his hoof against the sound block set into the surface of the 9-pony dais until he got some.
You will all show the respect and decorum expected from your prestigious positions. But Chief Researcher,
said Solar Spectrum, Council Pony of Energy.
Direct mana taps are specifically designed not to have any environmental effects. They're essentially giant unicorn horns.
Brainiac glared at her for several seconds.
I am fully cognizant of the mechanics behind the foundation of our energy infrastructure, Council Pony Spectrum. I would not have asked Dr. Wreath here if I felt he was going off on a fool's errand.
He turned back to Laurel.
Go on.
Thank you, sir. The Council Pony is largely correct. However, I've always suspected that truly clean energy on that level is too good to be true. Call me a pessimist, but I believe that the Tanstoffel principle would still hold true.
Tanstoffel?
Said Brainiac, furrowing his brow. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch, said Phantom Zone, council pony of aeronautics.
Phantom Zone is a good pony name.
I didn't know you were ever in Space Fleet, Dr. Wraith. Laurel allowed himself a small smile. That would be my wife, sir. Corps of Engineers. He grew serious once more. In any case, after months of theoretical models and practical tests, all of my results came to the same grim conclusion. We have nearly 1 billion standard horn power units worth of monotaps in use on and around Croupton. 1 billion horns constantly channeling magic. As we expand across our solar system and beyond, that number is going to rise exponentially. But we have already passed a grim threshold. Esteemed council ponies, I fear we are now consuming magic faster than the universe can produce it. The uproar resumed until Brainiac beat it back into submission.
Explain yourself, Dr. Wraith. The universe is vast. Even now, as we expand beyond our homeworld, we are but a mote of dust.
Only on a cosmic scale. The fabric of reality has a constant output of energy per cubic meter per second. For most of our history, we used only a slim fraction of that power. But now, with monotaps, we are using orders of magnitude more magic than before. We are sucking the cosmos around us dry. Ooh. This is something that, God, I forgot her name. Jigsaw would like.
And do you have any proof of this?
Sneered the council pony of meta-academics. Laurel raised an eyebrow. That would be in the paper I submitted, Council Pony Tower. Ivory Tower scoffed the scoff of a pony who has graduate students for such base tasks as reading things.
And why haven't the mana taps shown any decreased efficiency? Indeed, why hasn't any magic? You're making it sound like Pegasi should be falling out of the sky.
The Pegasky? Oh. They won't, but the reason why is the true catastrophe. Magic from elsewhere in the universe constantly fills the vacuum left by our consumption, but as our usage continues to outpace production, we pull in magic from further and further afield. The force of suction increases every day. Eventually, the velocity of approaching magic will pass the speed of light, rendering our planet, perhaps our entire solar system, indistinguishable from an octarine whole.
Your mom is indistinguishable from an octarine whole.
This pain, is this what it feels like when Superman gets hit with kryptonite?
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
I'm pretty good at my job.
Laurel took a deep breath. The way things are going, it's only a matter of time.
I see.
Brainiac shut his eyes.
I'm afraid the council cannot support or publish these sensationalist findings.
Laurel fell onto his haunches, gazing up at Brainiac with a haunted look in his eyes. What?
Tell me, Dr. Wraith, if your conclusions were accurate, how much time would we have until this catastrophe?
About a month. Brainiac gave a grim nod.
Nod. And is there anything we could do to stop it before then? Anything reasonable? Simply shutting down the manitaps would mean the end of civilization as we know it. Even fusion would only provide a paltry fraction of our energy needs.
Laurel's eyes darted about as his thoughts raced. Well, there's always antimatter.
which we have never developed beyond curiosities and weapons too terrible to use, for manitaps are far safer.
Brainiac heaved a deep sigh and shook his head.
No, releasing this information would panic the public with no possible benefit. A good thing, then, that it isn't true.
Laurel took a shuddering breath. I see. Good day, Council Ponies. He turned to go. His head hung low. Brainiac's voice boomed behind him.
Dr. Reith.
He looked back. What?
These worrisome conclusions were clearly the cause of relying too heavily on independent research. If there is anything the Council of Research can do for you, you have but only to ask.
Laurel just stared for a moment before nodding. A hint of a smile played on his lips. I understand. Chief Researcher, thank you. The Council watched him leave through the telepad opposite the dais. Brainiac looked at each of his colleagues in return.
What I am about to say does not leave this room, but fillies and gentlecoats, it has been an honor to work with you. I suggest you all make peace with Pleo.
Who is that? Is that a Superman guy?
That I don't know.
I bet it's like the god that the Crouptonians worship.
Perhaps.
Or it's a horse pun on that. My favorite. Doodly doodly doo. The first thing Laurel saw when he rematerialized in his home was his wife's face, which fell as soon as she saw his.
No good.
He shook his head. You were right, Kara. I was so focused on the revelation that I never thought about what to do with it. Caravel put an orange wing over his withers and walked him into their apartment's living room, full of the rounded, cushioned furniture they'd chosen for a very important reason.
Because you're a theoretician,
She said.
You have the ideas. It's my job to figure out how we can use them.
Could it even be used? The Council of Research didn't have any more ideas than we did, and they're keeping it under wraps. Laurel slumped onto one of the couches. Frankly, they're probably right to do so.
They thought about it for what? All of 2 minutes? You can't let the scope of the problem overwhelm you.
Laurel didn't even turn his head. Can't I? We are literally talking about the end of the world. Caravel glared down at him. Wings flared.
You listen to me, Laurel Wreath. You may well be the smartest stallion on this rock, and you have an incentive none of the graybeards on the council have.
Laurel couldn't help but think over half of the council ponies were mares, but he knew what Caravel meant. He got up and moved to the bassinet hovering in the corner of the room, and the swaddled foal sleeping within. She looked so much like her mother, but she had his purple eyes. Laurel leaned in and gently nuzzled his sleeping daughter. Purple eyes, I wonder who it is.
Orange person, maybe? Orange coat, maybe?
A little, pick a side?
Maybe. It's one thing to fight for the world or the people.
Caravel said softly as she walked to his side.
It sounds good, but it's too abstract. The equine mind can't properly process something so huge, but you have something concrete to fight for. If you don't figure this out, Collision Risk will never get her cutie mark, or fly, or even speak. Collision Risk?
What kind of name is that for a pony?
It's a Croupton name.
Caravel and Laurel Wreath are better.
I have no idea. Collision Risk will never get her cutie mark, or fly, or even speak. And I know you're going to fight for her with every fiber of your being.
But how? There's no escape from the magical singularity. Laurel slumped to a sitting position, eyes shut.
Also, you keep saying Laurel, but on my screen it says Yanni.
I was completely
Comedy
confused
gold.
at first. I was like,
Yeah,
wait, does it not say Laurel? Have I been misreading this?
I was like, I have to get the second part of my joke out real quick, or else it'll be so awkward for you.
All right, guys, what do you hear when I say this? Laurel.
Yanni.
And then Ross is like Yanni, and then we overlay them in post.
Okay, let me just do that.
Perfect. We can't teleport outside of the solar system. No pony's even been that far out. Even if we could throw a generation ship together in the time we have left, there wouldn't be enough after that to get out of range. There's just nowhere to go. His eyes snapped open. Or is there?
Is there?
Laurel bolted to his hoofs. Shh. Caravel jerked her head towards Collision Risk, who was stirring in her sleep. Both were silent until she went still again. Laurel taking the time to mull over his inspiration. I may have an idea, he said more softly. He floated a sketch tablet in front of him, removed the stylus, and scribbled a design along the electronic surface. He flipped it around to face Caravel. Do you think you could build this? She glanced over it, mentally filling in the details he hadn't thought to include as she did so.
Of course. It's basically an escape pod, but I'm not familiar with this drive system.
It's like a GameCube controller.
Oh man, Scoodly would love the GameCube.
Yeah. If only she didn't die in this horrible apocalypse.
We don't know if that's going to happen yet.
It's not a drive system. Not exactly. Laurel passed the tablet to her and trotted towards one of the walls. Caravel tucked the tablet under a wing and followed.
Then what is it?
No time, no time! Laurel hissed. He trotted as quietly as he could to the wall-mounted video phone and entered a sending frequency. A young mare soon appeared on screen.
Council of Research Restricted Access Line, how may I help you?
Tell Council Pony Closed String that Dr. Laurel Wreath is going to need the use of the space-time telescope. The secretary started typing.
When and for how long?
Immediately and indefinitely. She paused in mid-keystroke.
This is very irregular, sir,
she said as she worked the delete key. The Council of Research promised me whatever I needed. Laurel glared into the screen. I need this. The mayor visibly swallowed.
I'll forward your request right away, sir. May I ask what you're looking for?
Laurel couldn't help but grin. It sounded ridiculous, even in his head. I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah, that doesn't really help me, sir.
Just keep showing me things and I'll know it. Doodly-doodly-doo. The space-time telescope was a marvel of the modern age, a collection of such incredibly sensitive apparatuses that the majority of the device was kept more than a mile underground. The access console itself had a massive central screen and enough computing power to rival anything on the commercial market. Put together, it could peer across possibility and reveal any number of alternate worlds. No. Sadly, alternate was a relative term. No. Chin in his hoof, Laurel pressed a button, and the view shifted another micron along the fifth dimension, revealing a Croupton that was just as doomed, but with many more silly hats. I love that. No. Another shift. Laurel looked at a female version of himself, staring back while seated at a familiar console. Yo.
Nice.
Another. Nothing but static. The collapse had already happened there. Even if there had been anything to see, there was too much interference from the magical singularity to see it. Laurel grit his teeth.
No!
He took a deep breath. Searching sequentially clearly wasn't the way. Anything nearby, anything relatively easy to access, would be just as doomed as this world. But the further afield he went, the more power it would take, and the less likely the timeline would be able to support equine life. Laurel took a deep breath, accessed the telescope's internal protocols, and started putting together a random skip function.
Plow guide my hoof,
he muttered as he returned to view mode. He pressed the button again. The view before him was like something of a history text, or a tale for fools. Enormous stretches of wilderness, the barest rudiments of industrialization. No monotaps of any sort beyond unicorn horns. Nor would there be for centuries at minimum. He smiled.
It's perfect.
Doodly-doodly-doo. Caravel frowned as her delicate pinions ran the plasma torch across the outer shell of the escape capsule. Over the last week, the living room had lost most of the padded furniture, making way for a small council-provided workshop. Nanoassembler, turnip complete spell matrix, the basics. What is a turnip complete spell matrix? What?
I don't know. When you say perfect...
Environmentally, culturally, technologically, every parameter you could think of. Sure, the local cosmology boggles the mind, but it's everything we could ask for.
And she'll be safe?
One more swipe, and Caravel finished another seal in the capsule's polished, cylindrical outer shell. Laurel hesitated for a moment before saying,
She'll certainly survive.
I don't know if that was supposed to... Yeah, that was supposed to sound uncertain, I guess. That's scary.
Yep. But it's better than certain death.
Yeah, but come on. You gotta reassure the mom better than that, man. Caravel glared at him, still holding the torch.
Laurel, what are you going to do to my baby?
The magic tumbled out of him.
The magical field of that world has a notably higher frequency. Pony magic still functions as we understand it. Indeed, there's at least one example of a subspecies I'd never seen before. But Collision's personal magic will retain the lower frequency of our universe.
Caravel put down the tool.
So, what, in this higher frequency world, she'll be some kind of super pony?
Just the opposite, I'm afraid. The two waveforms will generate a destructive interference effect that will impede her magic. She might never fly.
Laurel clamped his mouth shut, but the horrified look on Caravel's face told him it was best to finish the thought before she filled in the blanks with something worse.
There's a non-zero chance she won't be able to get a cutie mark.
The horror!
Uh-oh.
She put her forehooves to her mouth.
Oh, Laurel.
But she'll live. She will live. And our people will live through her. So will we, in a sense.
Caravel managed to smile.
Done with the computer core, then?
Laurel nodded, hoisted a squat black cylinder about the size of Collision in his magic, then passed it to Caravel.
AI's templated with our engrams, along with most of Crouptonian culture and knowledge, with a petabyte or two to spare should she want it.
He took a deep breath.
I left out anything about monotaps, other than cautionary tales. They'd be even safer in that world, but as far as I could tell, they'd still ultimately prove fatal.
And?
Caravel bit her lip as she began connecting the core.
We really can't go with her?
Laurel shook his head.
I wish we could, but it's going to take an incredible amount of power as it is. Anything more than her mass and that of the capsule would take so much magic to shift. It would trigger the collapse before we left the universe. As it is, we're cutting our remaining time by half, at least.
He took a deep breath.
By plow, we're all but sacrificing our entire planet just to save one foal.
But she's our foal, and she'd die with the rest of us if we didn't do it, and our whole culture's coming with her.
Caravel thumped the capsule, then gave a grim grin as a thin row of status lights lit up green.
I call that a win.
I suppose.
Caravel nosed the last access panel closed.
It's ready.
Laurel stumped back a step.
Already?
Time's of the essence, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose it is.
Laurel moved to the bassinet, where collision risk lay entranced by a holographic mobile. He shut it off, making his daughter whimper.
I know, sweetie. I'm sad too.
He lifted her in his magic, making her coo with delight as they approached the capsule. He passed her to Caravel.
Here's Mommy.
Caravel held Collision close.
Oh, my sweet baby.
For a time, no pony said anything. Laurel held Caravel. Caravel held Collision. And Collision babbled to herself. Man, Collision is kind of self-centered.
Yeah.
Finally, Caravel put her daughter into the capsule.
Goodbye, Collision. Mommy loves you.
Daddy loves you too.
Oh, please, you try holding her in your womb for 9.
She just goes off at this time. Laurel lit his horn and closed the habitation chamber. It would unseal itself when it arrived in that other world. But until then, it would need to protect Collision from the depths of probability space. Laurel turned to the console that held the actual controls. The capsule itself had the high D shift drive, but he didn't want any chance of some pony trying to send his daughter back to her doom. With a click, he engaged the launch sequence.
Transfer in 20 seconds.
Caravel sniffed and held out her hoof. Laurel took it in his own. The capsule glowed, softly at first, then ever brighter. Perspective twisted around it, making it seem not larger but more prominent. Neither parent could look away, even as space twisted around it in surreal fractal forms. A bizarre suction tugged at horn and wings as the device used more magic than any Crouptonian endeavor before it. Finally, it vanished with a small thunderclap of air filling unoccupied space. Caravel buried her head in Laurel's withers, wrapping a wing around him.
Do you think she'll be all right?
He nuzzled her.
She'll have a chance. That's what matters.
Just say yes, come on.
Doodly-doodly-doo.
Scootaloo sighed, lying back in her bed with a comic book. Rainy days stunk. She supposed she should like them more, being a Pegasus and all. But when her best friends weren't, there wasn't much to do. Especially not when they were figuring out the next stage of the crusade.
Ah, the Crusades were the bloodiest times in history.
Yeah, famous, I don't know, Catholic Scootaloo? I don't know. I don't know who's in the Crusades.
Had to have been Catholics.
Makes sense. A knock on her door made her look up.
Yeah.
The door opened, revealing a Pegasus mare who resembled an older, paler version of Scootaloo.
Sweetie?
Scootaloo rolled her eyes at the sappy name. Not even befriending Sweetie Belle had been enough to shake it.
Yeah, Mom?
Since you have your kitty bark,
said Dizzy Twister.
I think there's something you need to see. Come with me.
Scootaloo tilted her head and got to her hooves.
Okay.
The Pegasi made their way upstairs.
Now, while I wish you hadn't found out the way you did, you know your father and I adopted you,
said Dizzy.
Cutie Mark Crusader bureaucrats. We found my certificate of adoption, yada yada. We've already been through that.
Scootaloo stumbled.
Wait, did you guys know my birth parents?
Well, not exactly.
Huh?
Dizzy said nothing, coming to a stop in the middle of the hallway, flapping up in the ceiling, grabbing a string in her teeth, and pulling down a stairway. Scootaloo looked at it and tilted her head.
I thought I wasn't allowed in the attic.
You're about to find out why. Sorry, I wanted to make that sound creepy.
Would have sounded creepier with you using the normal voice.
This isn't a creepy voice. What do you mean? Do people find it creepy when I talk like this?
I mean, if you talk like that just regularly, yeah, kinda.
This is my relaxed voice. My resting voice.
You must be very stressed most of the time.
You're about to find out why.
Dizzy went up the stairs, and Scootaloo followed. It was largely as her father had described, just a bunch of boxes and baby stuff that didn't merit losing cookie privileges for the rest of time. But then Dizzy pulled off a dust cover, revealing a steely cylinder a bit bigger than Spike.
What?
Scootaloo's question was cut off by a glowing light shining from the top of the cylinder. An equine head formed within the cone of light. Scootaloo knew she'd never seen the stallion before, but he still seemed strangely familiar. Eyes wide, she said,
Are you...
The stallion's head gave a sad smile.
Hello, my daughter.
Wait, is this a recording of Laurel?
Possibly AI.
Oh, that's right, the AI thing. That's
Yeah.
creepy. Ugh.
Hey, man. It's an important part in the Superman lore.
I didn't know that. I didn't realize this was actually also part of the Superman lore.
I don't know if it's technically AI.
It's like a clone.
It's sorta. It's his consciousness in that.
Oh, it's like GLaDOS.
He's still definitely dead. I guess. Sure, we'll call it like GLaDOS.
Wait, it's just like a computer that has their consciousness uploaded into it, right?
Yeah.
I did not know that was a thing in the Superman lore. I need to get more into Superman.
It could just be in very specific versions of it.
This is Fanfiction, Ross.
Author's note. Both the star Croupton orbited and the god the Crouptonians worshipped are named Rao. Oh, it's like Pony Rao, I get it. It isn't easy to ponify a monosyllable, and yes, I know the planet sounds like a salad topping. Right? That's what I said.
It does.
Dizzy Twister is a fairly obscure background pony. She's on the left here, and she really does resemble Scootaloo. I think I may have seen her before.
Huh.
Who is Scootaloo's adoptive father? Who would you like him to be? I love that. The end.
Wow.
That was Last Daughter of Croupton by fan of most everything.
Bravo.
I just realized the description appears Scootaloo's as orphaned as an orphan can be. So sad.
That's depressing. Well, guess she'll never be Superman.
Yeah. Really got the short end of the stick there.
Yeah, although I guess she did get her cutie mark in here, so...
Yeah, that's true.
She might become super strong or whatever. Who's to say?
Supaloo. So what did you think of this story?
Well, as a Superman fan, I rather enjoyed it.
Nice.
And as a Scootaloo fan, I hated it.
No,
Needed more Scootaloo. Way more Scootaloo.
Does this count as more baby pony torture? Because, I mean, Scootaloo didn't really consciously observe any of the bad stuff, but, I mean, her whole species was wiped out.
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
It's pretty bad, but I wouldn't say it's baby pony torture. An actual baby pony this time.
Yeah.
I don't know, if I found out I was from an alien race that died, I wouldn't be too bummed about it.
If I found that out, I would actually like freaking love it. Depending on how much my parents were hiding from me, I'll say that much.
Oh man, how much are your parents hiding from you though?
Right? I just found out the other day that babies. Did you know this about them? Where they come from?
No, where do they come from?
So, they said Cabbage Patch initially. Initially, they said Cabbage Patch.
Right. An obvious lie.
I found out, after visiting some websites on the internet, when a sperm meets an egg,
Uh-huh.
they have a baby together.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Wizzy,
Yeah.
what's a sperm?
Okay. So, in the Cabbage Patch.
So I
There's
like the
cabbage.
story a lot, actually.
I was gonna keep going.
I was so tempted to let you, but yeah, I think that of all the ponies to be Superman, Scootaloo is one of the best options. I wish we could read more, though. I want her to become Supermare. I want her to have a job at the Daily Bugle.
Yeah. What was it actually called in Superman?
The Daily Bugle?
No, that was Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Daily Planet, that's the one.
Mm.
Yeah, fuck me. I wanted to get a job at the Daily Planet. The Daily Pony?
Yeah, something like that.
That sounds too obvious.
I really thought that this story kind of felt like a good sci-fi story, especially for being a short story. Normally with sci-fi, you think episodic, long.
Yeah. Superman's a pretty good sci-fi story.
Yeah, I never really think of superheroes when I think of sci-fi, but yeah. That's probably just because I'm closed-minded when it comes to them.
You really are.
I just think of, you have to be either super speed, super strength, flying, or invisibility. And that's it. That's superheroes. What is your favorite sci-fi comic?
My favorite sci-fi comic? Good question. I'll have to mull that over. You know what? I'll get you that answer next time we do a sci-fi fic. How about that?
Oh boy.
Can't wait for that.
And I'll have an answer by then too, because I know I can name at least one I've read.
Well, delving too much into that would cause me to have a hernia, so let's just end the episode.
All right, everybody. Have a splendid night. If you haven't already, go into the description, click the link, go to this story, and give it a like. Give it a read. It deserves it.
Yeah.
Check out Fan of Most Everything's every other story. You know, they're a fan of most everything. You could be it too.
Do you know which story?
You should definitely check out the one I know is really good. I hope it's a recent one. Otherwise, I won't be able to find it. Nope, there's no way I'm going to be able to find this. Which one was it?
A Mad Glimmer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, everybody, thanks.
See you next time.
Later.
Did I say hear you next time? Oh, no.
See ya!
Okay, so apparently the comic ages are Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, Platinum, Victorian era,
What the?
the Modern Age, and does age impact comic values? That's what Google got me. That is the list of Google.
So we're on Does Age Impact Modern Values?
Yeah, I suppose.
Man, I wonder what that one has to do with comic books at all. The answer is
Who's to
yes.
say? Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah.